Head over to miniaturemarket.com where they have thousands of board games at discounted prices, and you can sign up for product alerts. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Just got back from Gen Con. You might tell from my voice, I got sick while I was there. I started feeling bad like the day I arrived, and then from setup day, I got there on Tuesday, setup day Wednesday, every day after that I felt worse and worse and worse. So I ended up having to change my flight, coming home a day early. Usually I come home on Sunday, but I had to change my flight, come home Saturday. However, I get most of my stuff done on setup day. 90% usually. I did again this year, and I get the rest of it done before the hall even opens on Thursday. And so usually by the time the doors open and Gen Con starts for most people, I'm pretty much done with everything I got there to do. And so I got to spend Thursday all day and all night, Friday all day, all night, even a little bit on Saturday once I got home, even though I felt terrible, playing all the hottest things that I got there so I can bring a bunch of content to you as fast as possible after Gen Con. So excuse my voice, but let's get started with some of this hot content from Gen Con. Today we're going out into the forests in all different biomes. We're going to be putting little seeds out. We're going to be growing them to little trees, going up to big trees. We're putting bushes to put our forests together. We're putting little lakes and water to make things grow faster. And we're going to be getting points from the sun in our largest forests. Today we're taking a look at Evergreen from the Horrible Guild. Now let me show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. In Evergreen, you're going to be trying to make your own planet become as lush as possible. And you're going to be doing so by using biome cards and planting things in different biomes on your planet, like little seedlings. And they graduate to small trees, to big trees. You'll use bushes to join your forests, and you'll use lakes and water to make things grow faster. The game is played over 4 seasons, and each season goes through some different phases. First, you're going to be drafting. And so each round there'll be a number of these biome cards put out depending on the amount of players. There's actually one more than the amount of players, so this would be for a 3-player game. And the first player would pick a card. They're going to be able to, let's say, pick a card, and they'll take it and they'll do something with it. But then they'll also place their first player marker on the leftmost spot, so whoever takes this card will be first player next turn. Now we'll look at this biome card, and it shows us where it is. This is going to be over here. Now this is known as the grassland. As you can see, that icon matches this. This is the grassland biome. And now I will, in this biome that matches this, will take an action. Now you have 4 choices of actions, but again, these have to be done in that biome. One of the actions is to plant 3 plant sprouts. So you could put 3 plant sprouts anywhere that's an open spot in that biome. And the components are really nice. Great table presence in this game. But let's say I already had that. Another different action when I got this is to do what they call a generic growth. But for the sake of this example, let's say this is how our board looked when we wanted to do that. Now you get to do it 2 times, just like on the other one we got to do it 3 times, as shown on the bottom of your player board. So what would happen is the little tree is going to grow into a big tree, which is going to be great for scoring, and the little sprout turns into either anyone I want into a little tree. So we got sprouts that turn into little trees, that turn into big trees. You get 2 of those. As shown here, either planting 3 sprouts or having 2 of them grow. Or you could put 1 sprout and 1 grow, but they have to be different. Same with this. They have to be different. You can't have one thing grow twice in the same thing. Or you could put a sprout or do a generic growth in any biome. You don't have to do it in your own biome. So those are the options that you have. Now, in addition to doing one of the actions on the biome you did, you also get a special ability. And the great thing about the special abilities is they are always used in any biome. And you can do it before or after the action in this biome. So before or after I just did what I did, I can plant a certain amount of plant sprouts. Now we look at the ability and it starts here. Anytime you get ability, you move it forward. So look at this. Immediately now I can do 2 of these. So I could do them, and I could do them in different biomes. They could be anywhere. They could be 2 in the same, 2 in the different, 1 in one, and 1 in the different one. Could be the biome I had my action card in. It doesn't have to be. You have a lot of flexibility. The next time I get a card that has that, I'm going to be able to do it 3 times and then 4 times. It's great. You're making up these special ability cards really let you get some engine building going for certain strategies. So maybe I plant 1 here, maybe I plant 1 here in this other biome. Now why am I doing this? Well, as I'll show you later, you're going to be getting points at the end of each round for your largest contiguous forest, which is made up of the trees, and later I'll show you some bushes. Now, as things go, there's different things. So like those different abilities are, plant, same types of things. Make one go from a sprout to a little tree, from a little tree to a big tree. This one's just straight points, 1, 2, or 4 points. Water and bushes are different. Bushes are great because if I do this, this is considered part of a forest now because bushes are sort of like trees. And so now my biggest forest right now is 3, but otherwise it would have been 1. So let's say I even had something like this here. Maybe I have one of these pieces and I had it right here. Well, my biggest forest is only 1 because I have 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and they're not contiguous. But I put a bush here, all of a sudden this forest of 1 is now 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're gonna get points for your biggest contiguous forest, 1 for each piece. This would get me 4 points at the end of the round. So that's what bushes do. Now, another cool thing are the lakes here. So let's say I get one of those and I place it here. Immediately when I place it, I can grow any 2 things that are next to it. So this little thing could become a big tree, and the little seed, the little sprout next to it could become a small tree. So that allows you to grow things as well. Now if I can end up sort of linking this tree somehow around here to this and growing this in the tree, I'll have, again, another big forest going. So those are different actions and abilities you can take. But when other players take cards, they're gonna be doing the same thing. Then one of these is gonna be left over. And this is super important. The card that nobody took goes off to what's called the fertility zone, just a place off to the side of the game. There's actually, some of these are seated at the beginning of the game as well. These are fertility icons, and it's gonna be important because at the end of the game, each biome is gonna have a certain amount of these cards. You're gonna count out the amount of fertility here, in this case 2, and each of your big trees in this biome is gonna be worth however many points there are. So it's interesting because the points that you get at the end of the game are huge, are for things that you're not taking cards for during the game, and they're at odds at each other, which makes decision space incredibly interesting here. By the way, speaking of components, look at this amazing insert. Has a spot for all the stuff, the cards and all the things. When the boards sit on there, they stay in their things there. It's like you just put that thing out there and it's like a nice usable insert tray. Now once everyone's selected a card and done their thing, well, you'll do it again. Now you'll keep doing this until you've taken a certain amount of cards that round. We just took 1 card, did our thing. We'll do that for 5 in the first round. And then we'll do some scoring, which I'll go over in a minute. Then you go to the second round, you're only gonna do it for 4. Third round 3, last round 2. So it's sort of like Wingspan in the way that you actually get more actions early, you get less and less each round, but you're building up sort of an engine in certain things and getting more abilities and be able to do more stuff, so you don't need more turns. It's very clever like that. So once you've taken all of the cards for that season, you're gonna go to the end of the season, you're gonna collect light. So everyone will have the sun in the same spot. You can start it in any side that you guys want to, and you decide that at the beginning of the game. And what's gonna happen is the sun's gonna travel down. Now, for every big tree it hits, it's gonna gain 2 points. For every little tree it hits, gains 1 point. However, this big tree casts a shadow of 2. It scores 2 points, but it's too big. So it goes 1, 2. So this one will get 2 points, but it casts a shadow here. This normally would get us 1 point, but it doesn't because the shadow from here is blocking it. This bush doesn't block anything. This gets 1 point because it's a small tree. 2 points because it's a big tree. And look at that, it blocks a shadow here. Now this is interesting because if you had one here, this blocks sun from here and this little spot there that's outlined, which means this one would still get 1, which is kind of cool. This one gets 1, but it creates a shadow of 1. So this one gets a point, but it blocks the 2 points this bigger one would have gotten. So why do you do this? It's very interesting because you're either trying to spread things out to get light points, but you're trying to get them in because after you get your light points, you're then looking at your biggest forest. And again, this is going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll get 4 points. So if you're able to clump things together, you're working great for forest points, but it's hurting you probably in light points. Because then right now, at the end of this round, this sun's going to move over here. So at the end of next round, look what's going to happen. Totally different. If this was this round, this would get us 1 point. 2 points, it blocks here. 2 points, 1 point. 1 point, 1 point. So you're constantly thinking about how am I going to get points now versus how am I going to get points later versus knowing which way the sun's going to go clockwise versus trying to get a large forest. It's really clever. So you'll keep doing this for each of the 4 seasons, and once it's done, you'll do some final scoring. Now before we go over final scoring, let me show you a couple more things. These are wilds. They basically, in this one, would get you a point for your, move your thing up and get yourself a certain amount of points on your ability track. But then you can basically take an action anywhere. So this is really powerful. But the other thing I want to show you is, let's say this was the last card. Nobody took it. Okay, so it's going to be added to the fertility zone. And it's going to be added to the same column of the grasslands. So far it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which means right now, if the game ended right now, each big tree in this place is going to be worth 6 points for everybody. But this was the one left. This right here actually destroys the most recent card placed in that fertility zone like that. So now it's only worth 5 points. So it's very interesting. So at the end of the game, in addition to getting your end of the season points for your light points and your largest forest, every single biome, you're going to look at the fertility zone, count these, and each big tree in that biome gets it, and you do that for all biomes, and everybody scores points that way. So if it was like this, I had 3 big trees in that, and that was worth 5, I would get 15 points there. Whoever has the most points at the end is the winner. Yeah, this was very high on my top 10 most anticipated games at Gen Con for multiple reasons. It looks awesome. It uses the mechanism from Photosynthesis that I liked, but this looked like it's gonna be a more interesting game. It's designed Hjalmar Yak, the same person that did Photosynthesis, and he's done Dragon Castle and a bunch of other games. Those guys at Horrible Guild know what they're doing. They always make games that are just excellent. Like I can't even think off the top of my head at all a game that I played of this. I was like, it's not very good. Or even just like, it's okay. They always make stuff that are like, this is really good. And again, they did it here. These guys just keep hitting it out of the park. And they are actually super nice guys too, by the way. They're from Italy, and they come to Gen Con, and we typically meet once while we're there, and it's one of the things I look forward to every year. We have a great time together. But regardless, if they had a game I didn't like, I would tell you, but this thing is awesome. This game, let's tell you why. Beautiful table presence and art. The art on the biomes is awesome, but the table presence, all the components. 5 years ago, this would have just been like cubes of different colors, right? And now they have all these awesome components, the wooden components. They just looks awesome on the table. Streamlined mechanisms. I'm going to draft a card, I'm going to select one of these 4 actions, and I get a special ability. That usually has to do with what those other actions do. Pretty streamlined. The goals are at odds with each other. I love that. You're trying to get points for getting lights to trees, but the cool thing, like in Photosynthesis, the light will get blocked by certain trees depending on how tall they are for things behind it. But you're also trying to get the largest forest. So if you want to get a lot of light, you got to space the trees out. But if you want to have the largest forest, you got to put them together with that in the bushes. So it's like the main ways to get points are like at odds with each other. And you're doing one and it's stopping you or hindering you on the other one. I love that decision space. Tough decisions the whole game. The fertility, I love that it's the one that's not selected, that card gets added, and that is the one that's going to make the big trees more valuable at the end of the game in that biome. It's just absolutely brilliant. Again, I love games that have somewhat simple mechanisms, but the depth is in the decisions you make. You don't need complicated 30-page rule books to feel good about yourself or to think, well, the game must be worth $30. It's got $50, $60, $70, whatever, because there's a 30-page rule book and it's complicated. It has minis. Hogwash. These are the games that I like. Ones that you can bring to the table, easily teach, but it has huge replayability, looks awesome on the table, and has lots of great decisions and feels different every time you play. You don't need crazy heavy stuff. I don't mind heavy games. If the game's heavy and it's really good, I'll enjoy it. I liked Arc Nova. I like Lisboa. I could do, I did differential equations in engineering school. No rule book is going to stop me from playing a game, but most of the time those ones don't tend to be as much fun as these ones. The next one. Planning for the sun. I love that. You're looking at where you're putting your trees. You know where the sun is now. You know where the sun's going to be. And you're like, this will help me this round, but it's going to hinder me the next round because of this and there. And I put this next to this tree on this side. Interesting forward planning. The special ability. I love the decision that the special abilities can be used anywhere. Because when you take the biome cards, you've got to use your actions in that biome. But you're using the abilities anywhere. That helps you set up things for interesting combos and interesting things where you're like, oh, I just need this right here. I got to put this bush in this other thing. Oh, I can do this now. Now I get this bigger forest that were linked between 2 forests. It's great like that. And yeah, but making you use the actions in the biome, that makes you decide which card you're going to draft, which again is tough because that's the main interaction with the other players is drafting cards that they might want. But you're also trying to influence which one is being added to the fertility pile. So brilliant. I love that every time you use an ability, you're first moving it and you're essentially upgrading that ability to be more powerful. It's just awesome. You don't do it afterwards, you do it before. It's like, oh, I get this, to move this to the 1 to the 2, and I get to do this. It just gives you a good feeling that you're getting better and better. This game is an interesting arc. It's almost like a wingspan arc, where like you have more turns in the early rounds, and because your engine's built and because you're doing more and more things, you get less and less and less turns each round. I actually love that. It's like an upside down pyramid, kind of like the way wingspan works. This does it. It works really well. I love that he took the ideas that were in Photosynthesis, which were his ideas because he designed Photosynthesis, and refined it into what I think is a much better game. I enjoyed Photosynthesis, but there were things about it I did not like, so it's not one of my favorites. This took everything that I liked about Photosynthesis and built a better game around it. This is awesome. On the negative side of things, this is largely a solo Euro sort of spatial puzzle game with the only interaction you have with other players really is in drafting the cards. Taking a card they might want or hoping that they don't take a card that will leave the one that you need to try to build up the area that you want for the fertility for the end of the in-game points. So this is mostly a solo game with a little bit of interaction. So with that, you'll know whether you like that or not. I tend to like games with more interaction. I tend to like games that are not solo Euro games. But in this instance, I still really love this. This is a fantastic game. It really is. The other negative is the components are really cool, but like if you've built the forest and such, and you've got a little piece in the middle that you need to upgrade, and it's surrounded by a bunch of trees, and you go to get it, and this might only be because I have pretty big hands and fat fingers, but you go to get that, you're inherently, knocking over a tree, and if you have other trees, it's almost like a domino effect. It's like you put this, I go to take it out, it knocks over one tree, which knocks over every other tree in that row that's right next to it, because I had them all clumped. Then you go stand them all up and you try to put the tree in. I was constantly knocking the trees over, but only when it was like really clumped up. And again, it might be just because I have big fingers, but that was my only negative. You might not feel that at all. But anyway, great, fantastic game. Another huge hit, a triple, I'd say, for the Horrible Guild guys. Evergreen. So let's induct it properly with a saxophone serenade.
Toppers not only transforms your existing table to a high-quality gaming solution, they now offer full leg kits and dining cover solutions for the full table application. Paired with their amazing thematic premium stitch edge mats from noted board game artists like Vincent Dutray, collapsible cup holders, and really cool accessories, it's a complete system that upgrades every game you play. Go to GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below to late pledge for their latest Game Topper 3.5 Kickstarter campaign.